What's up guys, Steve the Graphics Guy here. This is part 2 of branding ducts of DelChester, and we are going to be installing wallpaper, art panels, and some of the other elements that you saw us produce in part 1. So let's get started. Alright, we are on the inside and we got to get set up here. And one of the first and most important things is filling your bucket with water. All right, now that the water is full, gonna give the machine a good little wipe down. There's just a little bit of dust on here. It's been sitting in the new shop since we moved. So we'll get this cleaned up. Now we're cooking. All right. So we're gonna get this beast into place. Try to lock her in here. Make sure our rubber stop is in and solid. And we're gonna go for it. Got some glue loaded up. So we can get some wallpaper out. All right, so this first mural I was able to print in 4 pieces, and that's where we're gonna start. One of the reasons that I started this channel is because there was a time where I needed a lot more information about hanging wallpaper, and while there's some resources on here, I feel like a bunch of them left out key points, and they still do. And that's something I'm still figuring out, is exactly timing on how long to let panels sit, when to double cut, how long they could sit before you do that. So I'm still working that out, but I do want to help with that at some point. So I think I'm going to start pulling some of these panels and getting things going. And it's been a hot minute since I've done this, so it might take me a second to figure out what exactly is going on. Like this. This is where it gets messy. Checking my glue. I think last time I had a little too much. This looks like a pretty good consistency. Get that top edge. So that process I just did there is called booking. And helps you, number one, manage what you're pulling through. Number two, it's going to relax the film for about 10 minutes like this before we get started. So you match those two up together. And now I booked way more on top than I did on the bottom, but it's fine. We'll change that for the next one. Way more. So that's panel number one. All right. So that's fine. Okay. All right. Let's knock out the rest of these. Locked. Really, I got 3 inches of bleed up top here, so I don't need to worry about this top edge too much. It's a bunch of this getting cut off, but just in case I need it. All right, so less of a book this time. So you might be saying wallpapering looks cool, but do I need that huge machine? And the answer is no, you don't. But today, I was worried about how much time I have. And the pasting machine certainly speeds things up instead of rolling these by hand. But it does require a whole bunch more cleanup at the end. You know, get all that glue out of there that we poured in. So it's kind of a, you know, one of those things. You gotta figure out what's more important to you. But today I wanted to get as much done as possible. So busting out the machine was the way to go. One of the things too I wanted to do, I have a moisture meter. And since I primed these walls a couple days ago, I just wanted to check. We're at 3.2, which is very good. Anything less than 10, they say is acceptable. So ranging anywhere from 3 to 8. So that's one of the things I should have done absolutely first, probably before I set up anything. But I knew with a couple days that that was definitely going to be dry. So I'm going to measure my first panel, and it's 51 3/16. So what I normally do, 51 3/16. So I'm going to set up my laser on this corner, and the top of the corner is in a little bit, the bottom of the corner is out a little less than a ½ inch. So from the bottom, I'm going to measure out I'm just going to take off an 1.5 inches. So we were here. So now I'm going to set up my laser on that line. And that's going to be my starting point. On this first one, I'm going to mark in the overlap area 3 inches, and that's going to put me where I need to be with my bleed. And get my right edge on that laser line. And with this first one, before I go cutting anything, oh yeah, I'm gonna make sure that I went all the way down into where the cove base is gonna be. We're falling just short of it, which is what we wanted. There's the outlet. The sun is starting to rise. All right. All right, so I'm good with that. Got my outlet cut out. snapped a fresh blade. Get that grid nice and clean. Any glue off the surface. It also helps you see if there's any bubbles in there when you're rubbing your hand over it with the towel. So with my left hand, keeping the wallpaper right up against the wall. Since it hasn't dried yet, it could easily try to like pop off the wall. So I'm keeping that tight. And then with my right hand, I'm just going smooth and steady. Making sure I'm not cutting into the other wall, but keeping it super tight so that it's not overlapping the other wall. And I just try to fold glue on top of itself, so when I put it down, it's not making a mess. So that's panel number one. I'm going to start zipping through this, and then probably once I get to the last seam, I'll show you how I cut seams. now we're on to the seams. I got the first one done already, but I did want to show these maybe a few times for anyone that hasn't seen it, wants to learn it. I don't know how great this camera angle is because I'm in the ceiling, but I'm gonna go a little past the line. So the first like 3 or 4 inches, you're gonna wanna grab a little straight edge or some type of putty knife or something straight. I tucked this behind this grid a little bit, so I had to hand cut that part, but and then this is a double cut tool. I'm gonna sneak that behind. I'm gonna put all that back where it was. Get this all nice and flat down. And then I'm gonna grab my ruler, straight edge. I'm gonna put this right on the line there. And then slow and steady, keeping firm pressure on the ruler so that doesn't move. We just go straight down. The other side of that overlap is all the way over here. So I'm kind of just cutting it in half. You want to make sure the foot of this isn't digging into the wall. So I'm kind of putting pressure with my index finger on the back side so it doesn't push the back side of the foot into the wall, which can create damage. So just follow through all the way to the bottom. Take that out. First thing I do is always clean the foot of the knife there. Get all the glue off so in between cuts it doesn't build up. I tuck that away. And then this bottom part is all going to be below the cove base anyway. But I just go up until I meet the line. And then you're able to pull both sections out. Get rid of it. And then you have all the glue from the overlapping panel. That needs to be wiped off. As you tighten down the seam, you see a line of glue there. Gotta make sure all that comes out. And if there's any fine-tuning registration you need to do, like getting that perfect, you still have a little bit of wiggle room to get that done. And that's cutting a seam. So I got one more to do on this wall. So I set my laser up about 1 inch into the seam or so. Snap a fresh blade. come down about 4 inches. It's a weird one where the ceiling met. They took out this wall and just kind of patched it in. Slide my blade in there, making sure I'm behind both layers. Get that down. Keep my fingers clean. Ruler, straight edge. Get some fresh water. Nothing like getting some ceiling tile in your eye. I'm gonna leave that one up because I'm gonna start over there next, but this is what it looks like. Looking pretty cool so far. As I wrap up this wall here, I just want to say thank you to you guys for watching. I appreciate you. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. It would mean the world to me. If you have any questions, drop them in the comment box below. And as always, I will see you in the next one.